Hello, hello. I don't know if you can hear me. Welcome to an impromptu live Deprogrammed with Keri Smith. I am your host, Keri, and I am reporting from Germany. I didn't know when I would be able to stream on this trip. It's been a little hectic and chaotic, and so I appreciate you guys being patient with me. And if you happen to be here today, welcome. I see Therese. Hello, fallen friend. Good to see you. So we just checked into this hotel and my husband's on tour. If you're new here and you're like, what's happening? My husband's band is on tour in Germany, and then Switzerland next is the next stop. And so we've been traveling around to different cities. And anyway, they're at sound check, but I checked in and haven't found the heater yet. So I'm wearing my coat. It's pretty cold here in Germany. For a Texan, it's cold, I should say. And the tour's been great. I would like to wish a very happy birthday to my husband. Today is his birthday, and it's a really special day. And I'm so glad he had a day off yesterday, and we all got to go hiking and do some fun things in the Black Forest. And yeah, I love him and really happy to be sharing another year with him. So without further ado, there's some things since I haven't been on the regular schedule since we're traveling. There's some things in the news. I feel a little rusty, but man, I wanted to talk to you guys and see what you're thinking. And I feel being here in Germany, away from America at this time, leading up to this election in particular, I feel a little odd about it. I'm happy to be here, very happy to be here, but the timing is a little stressful, and I feel like I'm a little out of the loop with what's going on. On the other hand, it's kind of nice because maybe it's keeping me from getting caught up in all those same 24-hour news cycles there. But we hear them here. That's the thing. There's some interesting observations here in Germany. We hear all the same stuff here. So let me just share a couple of observations. And first, I'll answer Therese. Hey, Therese, how's the coffee and cake? Kaffee and Kuchen is delicious, I should say. I think I'm coffee, and I'm not coffeeed out, never coffeeed out. I think I'm cake out. I don't think I can have any more cake. I think I've had all the cake I can have. So, but it's, oh man, it's good. The desserts are so good here. They don't put all the extra stuff in them. So they're sweet, but they're not too sweet. And when you get whipped cream on a pie or cake, it's real. Like they whip the cream. It's good. It's not out of the can, right? It's a little different, tastes different. And yeah, anyway, it's great. Hey, Ann Pinkova. Good to see you, lady. My wrong knitters. Hey, Keri, I have a rare Wednesday off so I can catch the show. Well, I'm glad you're here. Let me tell you guys, I brought so many knit items with me, and it's thanks to the knitters that I have such beautiful things to wear, and all kinds of hats and scarves and shawls. And I've tried to, if my husband gets a picture of me on this trip wearing, I try to tag the right person who made each beautiful item. You guys are just, yeah, you're just amazing. So thank you. Thank you to Yolanda Sheehan. I've been wearing that shawl. Heather 296. I know the screen names for some, the hats that Heather made. Tabitha with the pink shawl. Also have Tabitha's the black cat hat. I just have a couple of different things here, and I'm really blessed. So thank you guys. Okay. Hey, G-Man. So let me tell you about Germany. I did bring my MAGA hat. I finally got a MAGA hat. This trajectory of being a liberal who left the woke left, I arrived at the point, even though I cried when Trump won in 2016. I voted for him in 2020, but I didn't get a MAGA hat until a couple months ago, after they trumped up those ridiculous charges just so they could use lawfare to try and put their political enemy in jail. And they found a corrupt judge and jurisdiction willing to prosecute, and they convicted him of that nonsense. After that happened, I said, I'm getting a MAGA hat. F these people, right? F these communists. I can't believe that put me over the edge. Like, you guys know, those of you who are regulars, I was for DeSantis during the primaries. And I've never been like a really rah Trump person, even though I voted for him in 2020. I thought he was the best option. But they turned me into a rah Trump person. Then after they trumped up those charges and convicted him, then they tried to kill him twice. He took a bullet for us, and he'll probably take more, because all of the major Democrats, these psychopaths, are all over the media right now talking about how he's Hitler, lying, saying all these horrible things, begging someone to kill him is what they're doing. So, yeah, I wear the hat with pride now, and screw anybody who has a problem with it. I don't care. I don't care anymore. All you leftist idiots, I don't care what you call me. I don't care if we're friends in real life. And all these years that I've left the left, I've been very kind to you, even when you're a dick face and you say horrible things to me, and I just let it slide because I'm trying to show you a different way of behaving in the world. Screw you. I don't care anymore. I'm going to wear the hat. I'm going to say the things. I'm going to say, make America great again. And, I don't care if you don't like it and you're going to laugh at me. I don't care. I'm laughing too. I think Trump's funny. I have my Trump pen. I brought it here to Germany with his funny hair. And so a couple things. I wore the MAGA hat a few times whenever we're out hiking or something. I usually wear it because it's the only baseball cap that I brought. And so I'll put that one on if we're doing some physical activity. And we were hiking in the middle of the forest in Freiburg, up behind the cathedral, and everybody that looked at me, I know how a lot of the Germans think, just like the woke in America. They listen to the corporate press. They're completely brainwashed. They have no idea what's going on. They have no idea. And they look at me and they assume, oh, she must be for Kamala, just like a lot of the freaking woke do in Austin. But when they see the hat, they do a double take. And I know they have all kinds of stereotypes. And so I just smile very big at them while we're hiking. Here's my husband. I just smile very big at them and just keep walking, because how can you be upset with somebody smiling at you? Now, some of them probably still can be, but it's a very quick interaction. We did pass one guy. I think he was an American based on his accent. We passed one guy who was coming down the mountain, and he said, "I like your hat." And that was very unexpected and cool. And otherwise, nobody said anything outright about the hat. I did notice with the pen, this is what I like about the Trump pen, because he's got the crazy hair on the pen. It's like felted on this fuzzy hair. And we were getting our photos made in front of the cathedral. And then there were these law students there. Were they law students? No, they were chemistry students, and they had just finished some big exam, and they were having beers in front of the cathedral. And these German students. And I heard them talking right as we were getting our photos taken. They were saying something about my Trump pen. Look at her pen. And if you look at the pictures, you can see the progression of the first photo. By the third photo, they're all turned their heads and are looking at the pen. And I heard them laughing. And I love that, because they're laughing. So the thing about having a sense of humor is, I can wear a shirt that's kind of humorous about Trump, or I can wear that pen and people will ask, I don't get it. Are you making fun of him? And I'm like, both. I like him. I voted for him, and I support him. And also, his hair is funny. Also, this shirt is funny, right? Like, we can laugh at ourselves. That's something you don't have on the left. You guys don't know how to laugh at yourselves. So yeah, it is hilarious. And, you're going to laugh at me for wearing the MAGA hat? I don't care. I'm going to laugh at me too. And I'm still going to wear it. And you can fuck off. Sorry for the language. I'm just, this week, just a little bit like, I'm kind of like, don't mess with me this week. Don't mess with me leading up to the election. Like, I'm a little done. I'm done with people and their stupid assumptions and their snide comments and their sarcasm and all this stuff. I'm sort of like, my patience for it is wearing a little thin this week. I'm sure I'll get it back next week, but right now I'm like, no. And I've had some good conversations with people also. I think that they're just like in the States, there are people here who are on the left, or maybe they're not, maybe they're only on the left because that's what everybody is here. I don't know. But they hear the mainstream corporate narratives, and but there's still liberalism with them. There's still a curiosity within them, and they have questions. And so my husband and I both have had interesting conversations with people who are genuinely curious and want to know more, who are not being jerks and who are asking, well, I thought, Trump was like this, or I thought, just people who are asking in good faith, like trying to understand better. And I really appreciate that. I appreciate people who are genuinely curious and not looking to just be a jerk or a meanie, Let me take a quick break and just say thank you. Yarn Motivated Joyce Swenson is here. Hello, Joyce. Joyce, thank you for the $10 super chat and the super sticker. I appreciate it. All my knitters, you guys have me looking so fine here in Germany, and I appreciate it. I have the best knitwear of anyone because of you guys. G-Man for $5 says, Keri puts a cowgirl hat on and suddenly she goes buck wild. I know. Sorry, the curse words flying today, G-Man, a little bit. Steve, don't worry. I hit the like button twice. Thanks. Thank you guys. Okay. So people have been asking questions, they're just kind of, they'll make an assumption and they'll say, something that lets me know that they think that I want Kamala to win. And then I'll sort of let them know that's not the case. Maybe not overtly each time, but sort of like, oh, well, I don't know. Like somebody asked me, you must be on pins and needles about who's going to win. And I said, well, no, because I think the fix is in. And then that opens up an interesting conversation, right? Because they're like, who do you think it's going to be fixed for? I'm like, well, Kamala, obviously. If they do let Trump win, maybe I think personally, it's either because the margin was so big that they didn't think they could get away with it, or they allowed him to win because they want more chaos in the streets. Because if he wins, the leftists are going to be burning stuff down. They're going to be rioting. There's going to be chaos, and maybe the powers that be want that. I don't know. Maybe they want more of that escalation. But do I trust our elections? Hell no. I don't trust why would you? Are you crazy? Like, it doesn't mean I'm going to stop voting. I'm still going to give it to them as best I can, make them work hard for the cheat. But I don't trust our elections. Our country, do you know what our 3-letter agencies do? Do you know how we go in and fix elections in other countries? We instigate coups. When Trump was president last time, he released only part of the Kennedy files, but one of the things that was buried in there, and you can go and look this up, leftists, this is true, was that it was revealed that the CIA at one point had been making plans to bomb a city in Florida, a U.S. city in Florida, and blame it on Castro. So then they could get this invasion they want. And then they decided not to do it, but they were planning it. I mean, do you trust these people? You think they're going to sway elections in another country, or they're going to fix elections, and they wouldn't do that? Are you kidding me? If they could get away with it, you don't think they would? So I asked this one guy in Germany, I was curious. I was like, so do you trust the government? And he was like, well, which government? I'm like, any government. But seriously, do you trust your government? I'm just curious. Do you think your government here in Germany has your best interests at heart? Like, that they are trying to do their best by the citizens? And I really don't know. I was curious what he would say. And he said, yes, he thinks they generally have the Germans' best interests at heart. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't live here. I don't know. I don't know enough to make a call. If there's any of the audience here today who lives in Germany, I know some who do, you can tell me what you think about that. But I'll say that in America, the answer to that question is hell no. I don't trust our government. They don't have our best interests at heart, not in America. it's laughable. It's quite the opposite, actually. So yeah, that was I don't know. I've had lots of interesting conversations, and I'm a little jet lagged. So if I'm slow in my thoughts today, forgive me. But I wanted to show you some of the stuff that reached all the way over here to Germany. So I saw a couple things. Trump was on Joe Rogan, which I haven't gotten to listen to yet. I've only heard a couple clips because we have such spotty Wi-Fi and it's not reliable. It's also why my show schedule's not been regular. So I haven't even listened to it yet. I cannot wait to get to listen to it. I've heard some clips that are amazing. And right after that came out, okay, so he did a 3-hour interview with Rogan. And I know there were over like 250,000 views within 15 minutes, something crazy. And this is, first of all, this is the power of new media. This is why they want to censor podcasts, alternative media, anybody with YouTube shows. They want to censor as much as they can because the mainstream media, the corporate media, they don't have the power that they used to have. They still have power. Don't get me wrong. We're about to talk about how they just pulled the strings of a bunch of sheep this week, but they don't have the power they used to have. They don't have everybody. There's a whole big population of us who don't trust that shit and don't watch it. And we watch alternative media and we watch podcasts, and that's where we go to get unfiltered conversations and to try and piece together what is the truth. And so that's why they want to censor people like Rogan. And he gets so many views. What is that interview at today? It's probably, what do you want to guess? 40 million? I don't know. Let's look it up. But somebody look it up and tell me how many views it has today. But so he went on there and he did this 3 hours unedited conversation like Rogan does. And what I was told about the interview is that it's classic Trump. He's got a lot of information and a lot of opinions. He knows a lot of things. He's actually very intelligent. Try and pretend like he's stupid. He's actually very intelligent. And he weaves things together and he'll come back to it later. Like he drops little points in the conversation and like threading a needle, he'll come back to that bit and pick that bit up later. Or Rogan, I heard Rogan would say, well, can we get back to, and then Trump would say, oh yeah, well, let's talk about tariffs. And he would take it right back to his point. And so because I think he probably did so well in that interview, I'm going to watch it for my own opinion. But John says, by the way, 35 million views last I heard. Danielle says 60 plus million views over all platforms. YouTube says 40 million, says Therese. Oh my goodness, 60 million over all platforms. This is what I'm talking about, the power of new media. This is why they hate it so much. So I'm guessing because he did so great on that Rogan interview, the very next day, here's what we were hearing here in Germany. And maybe you're hearing this in the States. And I've seen some celebrities on Twitter saying this, like Stephen King is saying this. They're all trying to now say that Trump doesn't make sense and he has dementia. They're trying to say he has dementia. Do you understand how infuriating it is to hear that when they, like abusers, like narcissists and sociopaths, they gaslit us for 4 years, 3 to 4 years, they gaslit us about Joe Biden's actual dementia. I was trying to explain this to a German friend here. They lied to us, to the American people, like a narcissist. They gaslit us. The real meaning of that word, where they tell you, no, you're crazy. You're not seeing what you're really seeing. You can't trust your own eyes. You can't trust reality. The media, the corporate media, and the politicians for 3 to 4 years lied to us. They didn't show their audience, the sheep who watch the mainstream corporate media, they never saw the clips of President Biden flubbing his words, calling Kamala President Trump, like not knowing where he was, asking for reminders on who he's supposed to thank next. Like they never saw any of these senile clips because the corporate media wouldn't show them. They would just address, like, you may have heard a rumor that Trump is, they would do it that way and say it's a right-wing conspiracy theory. Nothing to see here. Then when they decided to pull a coup this year, when they decided, we don't know if the public's going to believe it, that he beat Trump. So what are we going to do? So in June, they held the presidential debate, which is crazy because the US presidential debate is always in September or October. They bumped it way up to June. Why? Maybe so it was time, they could have time to put a new candidate's name on the ballot. Maybe they let Biden go out there, embarrass himself for all the world to see, for all the sheep who listen to the mainstream media. They saw it. They could see it, that he has dementia. So then what did they do? Overnight, all the press turned on a dime. Oh my goodness, Joe Biden has dementia. All of a sudden, they're showing clips of him flubbing stuff from 2-3 years ago that they had never shown. Suddenly, they're showing it. They're like, look at this clip we found. Oh yeah, we've all seen that because we don't watch you guys. We go to X to get the news. We go to Twitter to get the news. We go to YouTube to get the news. We avoid you guys because all you do is lie to us and feed us propaganda, you fucking mainstream corporate vampires. So for them, so they turned on Biden, and then what they do? They installed Kamala. No election. They don't believe in democracy. This is the party that they call themselves Democrats. All they do is whine, bitch, and moan about how like, oh, Trump's going to end democracy. They don't care about democracy. They didn't let their party have a vote. They just selected her, did a coup, put her on the ballot. No election, no primary election. That's what they did. Turned on him. So for that party and for that media who lied about Biden's obvious dementia for 3 and 4 to 4 years, for them to now try and do this psychopathic Darvo, deny and reverse victim offender, the psychopathic projection, and make when it comes from a narcissist or a psychopath, every accusation is a confession of their own behavior. That's what they're doing now. They're like, oh, it looks like Trump has dementia. What? Based on what? Based on what? Based on what? Go watch the 3-hour interview with him on Rogan. Uncensored, unedited. By the way, Kamala, Joe Rogan's team said they put the offer out to Kamala to come and sit and do the 3-hour interview. And her team had demands. And her team said, no, we would consider it, but you have to fly to us to come to Kamala, where she's at, and tape maybe an hour. And Rogan's team said, no, we think that best interviews happen unfiltered, unedited, long form in the studio in Austin. We're giving you the same offer we gave Trump. Come here and do it. That's how powerful new media is. Rogan and his audience, Rogan doesn't need the vice president of the United States. He doesn't need Kamala Harris to come on his show. He doesn't need her at all. She needs him. She needs his audience. So is she going to end up coming and agreeing to his terms, what he usually does? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how desperate she is. Bungalow Logic says, you will love the Rogan interview, Keri. 3 hours. He was lucid, sharp, and funny. That's what I've seen, the clips I've seen. He's with it. He's making great points. Yep. Look at, Ann Pinkava has a great point. And it's not like Kamala didn't fly out to call her daddy. So gross. Call her daddy, which is like on Spotify. I guess it's one of the number one podcast for women. I checked it out after she was on. I watched a couple of clips, and then I just went and looked at the page and looked at the episodes and the kind of stuff they talk about on that podcast. First of all, the title of the podcast is gross. It's a sexual reference, so that's the name. For a joke, sure, but for the title of your podcast, gross. Like, that's how you brand yourself. And then from what I could tell, the whole podcast is just it's just for sluts. I mean, it's just that's what the modern leftist woman is a slut. That's what the left celebrates. So everything on that podcast is just about being a slut, sleeping around, never settling down, putting your career above family, not having kids, worshiping abortion, being drunk, being an embarrassment to your family. Yeah. Debauchery, yeah. The modern leftist woman. Just okay. Let me pull this up. Okay. So after the Rogan thing, and then they're, they're trying to say Trump has dementia. After this, I saw the Madison Square Garden news. So Trump sold out Madison Square Garden. Huge. I've seen pictures of the crowd. It's incredible. And there were reports that there were 75,000 to 100,000 people standing outside trying to get inside, hoping to get a chance to get inside. That's how popular it was. That's how popular he is. And everybody was there from what I can tell. Again, I haven't gotten to see this yet either. I've only seen clips. Even Dr. Phil was there. Dr. Phil. I love it. And just an amazing array of speakers and fun and good vibes. And everything I was seeing about it from the people I trust is just how positive it is. And then what did the media do? This reached here too. This reached to Germany too. We heard this too. Okay, so the media flipped out because he's so popular with the people. And this is in New York, in Madison Square Garden. They flipped out and they went to their tired old script from 2016. They went all the way back to that one where they're like, this is a Nazi rally. This is like a rally for Nazis. This is like Hitler. What? How? Why? Why? What was he saying? What was he saying at this crazy Nazi rally, right? So they couldn't find anything, I guess, to really go after him with. This is what I find incredible. This huge rally, they're trying to say he's like Hitler. They're being incredibly, incredibly, not just offensive, but dismissive of, like they always are, of what Nazis, what that actually meant. They're actually dismissive of people who suffered under the Nazi regime. They're belittling of it. They make it seem like it's nothing, and they're trying to provoke violence against Trump and against Trump supporters. This is the leftist thing. This is what they do. The political violence almost entirely comes from the left, and they're trying to provoke another assassination attempt or some kind of terrorist attack. Like, this is what they want to happen. And so it's incredibly irresponsible, but you've got all the leftist corporate press and the politicians on the left, all these different Democrats and celebrities who are saying these things, trying and hoping for violence, hoping for an assassination attempt. That's crazy, but that's what's happening. And then even though they're doing that, they couldn't find anything to hold up as an example and say, this is what we mean. This is the Hitler thing that was being said. What? So what did they do? This is how desperate they are. I find this really funny. They didn't have anything. The best they could do was to take a joke from an insult comic, from a roast comic, a comedian, to take one of his jokes and blow that up. Like, they're going to blow something up. This is what they're going to do. What I'm saying is that's all they could find. That's what they chose. Like, there was nothing else. There was nothing Trump said or anything. They had to take something from an insult comic and use that and say, look how terrible the Trump campaign is. Look at this joke from this insult comedian. And the crazy thing is, on the left, the puppets just eat it up. And I saw lots of people on Twitter and on Facebook posting all of a sudden, like they take it so seriously. So the comedian I'm talking about, the insult comic I'm talking about, is from Austin. His name is Tony Hinchcliffe. He does a very, very popular comedy show called Kill Tony. I don't really watch it. I only see clips once in a while. My husband loves it. A lot of our friends love it. And I'm talking about friends across the aisle, left and right. It's not like a right-wing comedy show. It's just a funny comedy show. And if you like that style of humor, which it tends to be, I think more often than not, men like that kind of comedy more, insult comedy, that's what he does. He does roasts, he does stuff like that. And he is wickedly funny from what I've seen. And so he did a joke, and I'm going to play it for you. But one of the things the subject of his joke, one of his jokes was Puerto Rico. Okay, who cares? There's tons of, he jokes about everything. There's tons of subjects, but they picked the Puerto Rico joke and they blew it up and they said, look what he said about Puerto Rico. Oh my gosh, he's racist. And then the leftists, you can tell among all the leftists, all the leftist sheep, you can tell which ones are the most brainwashed and the most easily manipulated, because they're the ones who, that's all it took was for them to pull that one little string, and they're all over Twitter and Facebook going, defending the honor of Puerto Rico. Like, what? How easily controllable are you? You're the most easily controllable person I've ever seen. They got you to dance for this, for a Puerto Rico joke? Are you kidding me? George Lopez made a very similar joke about Latinos last week at a Tim Walz rally. I'll show you that too. You're not dancing about that. You're not defending the honor of Mexicans. He made a joke about Mexicans. You're not defending the honor of Mexicans. Why? Because the regime didn't pull your string on that one, did they, puppet? Puppet, they didn't even tell you about it, little puppet. You didn't even know about it. And now that you do know about it, are you going to dance about it? Are you going to do posts about it like, Mexicans aren't lazy, George Lopez? I can't believe Tim Walz would let you say that. Oh my God, you're so racist. Mexicans, are you going to go dance for them? No. They didn't pull that string. Gosh, you people. I have no respect for you. I'm at the point where it's like just zero respect and almost utter contempt, just because you allow yourself to be used like that. Like what are you? Are you a human being? Are you a strong woman? Are you a strong man? Are you just a puppet on a string? Just like, dance, puppet, dance. And you do. Puerto Rico's great. Like, who cares? Nobody thinks it's not. Like, it's a joke, you dumbass. Like, okay. God. Here, let's watch this. And then this is great. We're going to watch this too. So Tony Hinchcliffe, insult comic, makes a joke about how Puerto Rico is garbage. It's a joke, by the way, based on the truth, but it's a joke. And they all lose their minds and go crazy. And then President Biden calls Trump supporters garbage. In seriousness, not as a joke, says we're all garbage. He says this. Which is worse? Which is worse, the comedian joking or our president saying that we are all garbage? It's very reminiscent of the basket of deplorables comment, right? So I don't know if you've noticed, but all the wrong thinkers on X are changing their names to garbage. Garbage Keri. Here we go. Let's watch this clip. Superstar comedian Tony Hinchcliffe took the stage at Trump's Madison Square Garden rally and endorsed Trump. You guys are all for the right candidate. And here we go. Let's see. I think we might have to mute the beginning because I think he walks on to rap music. Oh, yeah, he does. Let's just mute it until he's up there. This guy kind of reminds me of Milo Yiannopoulos. I don't know if anybody else.
Garden, how we feeling, huh? Wow, isn't this special? 17 years ago, I was sleeping in my car behind the Comedy Store in LA, and I'm proud to say this is my 4th time performing at Madison Square Garden, the most famous arena in the damn world. The American dream alive and well right here. This is very different than where I'm used to performing, though. I'm used to nighttime with people drinking, not so many babies in the crowd, and people that are obviously only here for Lee Greenwood tonight. Normally, I don't make my political beliefs a known thing. It's divisive for a comedian to do that, but just know I sleep well at night knowing who I'm voting for. Yeah. When I lay down and my head hits my pillow, it is a fantastic pillow, by the way. I was staying at the Four Seasons up by Central Park one night, and I laid my head down, and it felt so good. And I thought to myself, what an amazing pillow. I have a little bit of money now. I could buy a good pillow. And I took the pillowcase off, and there it was. My pillow, my pillow, my pillow. And damn it, I bought 4 of them. And if you use the promo code KILLTONY, you can also buy
Stop it.
4 my pillows. There's serious stuff happening, people. I live in the great state of Texas now. 18 years in Ohio, 20 years in California, and I got to see California turn to absolute horrendous thing. And traveling the world, I got to see San Francisco turn into one of the most demented cities, one of the greatest downfalls I've ever seen. And that is where the other candidate worked for 2 decades. And it's absolutely wild to see. And in Texas, stuff is really, really crazy. We're right there by a wide open border. Where are my proud Latinos at tonight? You guys see what I mean? It's wide open. There's so many of them. It's absolutely incredible.
Okay, so I have to pause it here. They don't have a sense of humor, the left. They don't. They don't get it. I think being in a cult, I was in that leftist cult, it sucks it out of you. Like whatever natural sense of humor you have, you lose it. And the ideology blinds them with rage, and they just can't see how funny this is. First of all, he asked, like, where are my proud Latinos at? They like to pretend. I saw some of these idiots on Facebook. This one stranger, I don't know, came to my wall and was said, like, I wonder how many Latinos and Puerto Ricans were there. I was like, no, you don't. You don't care at all. You don't care to know at all that there was a large population of Latinos there, you dumbass. You don't care. Because you're a racist and you think everyone who supports Trump is white because you're a moron and you're in a racist cult called woke, called the Democratic Party. That's what you're in. And so he goes, where are my proud Latinos at? And you hear a huge loud scream. Everybody's proud, happy. And then he makes a joke at their expense, part of the audience, which is funny, and everyone laughs. This is what insult comics do. If you watch the whole bit, he's going to make jokes about everyone and everything. That's what he does. Do we get bent out of shape about it? No, because we have a sense of humor, unlike the left. I'm sorry, I told you I have no filter today. I'm tired of these people. So I apologize for the swear jar today. I should have just put the swear jar out. Here we go.
Believe it or not, people, I welcome migrants to the United States of America with open arms. And by open arms, I mean like this. It's wild. And these Latinos, they love making babies too. Just know that. They do. They do. There's no pulling out. They don't do that. They come inside, just like they did to our country. Republicans are the party with a good sense of humor. Free speech is under attack, people. I host a show, and each week I get updates what words we're allowed to use and not use anymore. It's happening right now the past few years. It's a real thing. And, used to be able to tell people to Google stuff. My mom's a boomer in the state of Ohio, and there's no convincing her of anything. She's eating the cats. She's eating the dogs. They're eating the pets up there. It is absolutely wild times. It really, really is. And, you know, there's a lot going on. Like, I don't know if you guys know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico. Okay. All right. Okay. We're getting there. Again, normally I don't follow the national anthem, everybody. This isn't exactly a perfect comedy setup. There's some people here. All right. Very good. I like it. I have other policies that I think it should be implemented as well. Like me personally, I think football should be all year round. Yeah. So many great athletes. I don't know about you guys, but I think that Travis Kelce might be the next O.J. Simpson.
Okay, I'm going to stop it here. Because I want to show you some of the reaction to this and some of the things that happened afterwards. It goes on and on, but that little tiny bit there, that Puerto Rico joke that you heard, that's what they've made the most hay with. And again, I just think it's illustrative of the fact that they're very desperate, that there was nothing else they could pull in a rally that they were trying to call, and that they were calling a Nazi rally and a Hitler rally and stuff. They had nothing to pull except that little joke. It's kind of crazy, right? So a couple things I want to show you. This is from my friend Frank McCormick. He had a great point. He says, a comedian last night, Puerto Rico's a floating pile of garbage. The media this morning, incomprehensible, shrieking. The media the last 6 years. Now, these are just a few of the headlines. This is why the joke's funny, because it's based on truth, but it's a joke. We all know it's a joke. Here's some of the headlines. Puerto Rico's trash problem. Can you guys see that? This is just a couple of them. It's a known fact. After Maria, Puerto Rico struggles under the weight of its own garbage. This is from NPR. All things considered. EPA sues Puerto Rico City over landfill overflow. There's a whole thing about the landfill and the garbage problem. Here's another article. Trash crisis leaves Puerto Rico near the brink. Most of Puerto Rico's landfills fail to meet federal standards and are almost full. Residents and experts worry that trash will soon overwhelm the region. Again, these are just a few of the headlines of the truth. The media calls it a trash island. That's fine. A comedian calls it a trash island in humor, in jest. That's terrible. It's so terrible. Okay, here's something else. So this very week, was it this week? Let's see. Yeah, October 26th. At a Tim Waltz rally, George Lopez, also popular comedian George Lopez, made a joke about Mexicans and how they steal. Let's watch it. Do you think they melted down over this? No, they didn't. Of course not. Why would they? They weren't told to melt down over this.
Donald Trump said he was going to build a wall. And George Lopez said, you better build it in one day, because if you leave that material out there overnight. Donald Trump said he was going to build.
So there you go. That's a joke about how Mexicans steal. Did you even hear about this? No, you didn't. Leftists, what's wrong with you? Be an adult. Be a man. Be a woman. Stop being a puppet. They pull the string and you jump. Puerto Rico's a great country. Gosh, have some self-respect. I'm going to share this. This is from my friend Chrissy Mayer, also a comedian. Man, if they'd had Chrissy up there, I think she would have gone harder than Tony Hinchcliffe. So she says Tony Hinchcliffe makes a joke about Puerto Rico's garbage. Current President Biden calls half the country garbage. Who is worse? Here's the clip.
They're good, decent, honorable people. The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters. His
Wow. So from President Biden, he felt a need to set the stage to show the idiots and the puppets what to do, which is to come in and defend Puerto Rico. Why? Who cares? It's a joke. They don't need defending. It's a joke. Nobody needs defending from a joke. But here he is saying, Puerto Ricans are good, decent people. You know who's a pile of garbage? Trump's supporters. He called all of us garbage. In seriousness, not in a joke. He's not a comedian. He's being serious. This is who they are. This is who the left is.
Puerto Rico, where I'm in my home state of Delaware, they're good, decent, honorable people. The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters.
Wow.
His demonization is seen as unconscionable, and it's un-American.
Okay. We're garbage. In seriousness. Not in joke. We're garbage. As James Lindsay says. Pretty crazy. Eclectic company. Hey, everybody, his patience is wearing thin. Yeah, I remember that. I mentioned that to a friend the other day who didn't remember that happening. But those of us who didn't take the vaccine, we remember it. Remember when he came out just like that and he was all, Biden was all like, my patience is wearing thin with you unvaccinated. My patience is wearing thin. What did he say? You're in for a winter of severe illness and death. Screw you. F you. Still here. Still here. Never took your stupid vax. Still here. All you people. This week, like I said, I'm just lower patience for the bullshit this week. That's all. I don't think you understand, those of you in the cult, I don't think you understand how much effort goes into trying not to treat you the way that you treat us. It's a lot of effort. It's a lot of prayer. It's a lot of prayers for patience and grace and thinking about how to best set an example and not just reciprocate what you do to us. And sometimes I don't have the energy for it. I don't have the energy for it this week. So, yeah. Therese says, wait, sorry, that's the wrong one. Therese says, Keri is up to my level of fed up. Yes, this week I am, Therese. Leading up to this election, I surely am. Rosa says, comments like that are why any call for unity from the left gets an extreme side eye from those of us who are not. Exactly, because they're full of shit. They're full of shit. They are the abusers. They are the violent ones. They are the ones who try and do assassination attempts and burn down cities and kill people. And then they have the nerve to talk about stuff like January 6th, like, oh, Insurrection Day, the crazy right. Like, what? Nothing happened compared to what you guys have done, killing people, burning cities on fire, trying to kill the president. Like, but you call that mostly peaceful, don't you? That's what they call it. And then they talk about unity when they are that psychopaths. They're the Nazis. They're the fascists. They're the ones who are against individual liberty. They're the ones who wouldn't let us leave our homes, wouldn't let people go to work, try to do mask mandates and vaccine mandates. They are the fucking fascists. And then they want to talk about unity while calling us all piles of garbage. They can get bent. That's how I feel about it right now. You know, I don't, if they allow Trump to win, I think there will be a time, obviously, my emotions are sort of like the rest of the country right now, up and down. I think I'll get to that place faster than most, probably, where I'm once again open to speaking to the left with grace and with patience and with trying to explain things to them. But this week, I don't have much of that right now. I kind of feel like, screw you, you know. How many times are you going to spit in our face and then talk about like we should have unity with you? Like, how many times are you going to spit in our face and then we're supposed to just like wipe it off and treat you better, treat you in a way that we would like to be treated? So let me show you this too. So we looked at the George Lopez clip. Oh, Here we go. This is just to give you, I don't know if I'll get a strike for showing this. We'll try. But for those of you who aren't familiar with Tony Hinchcliffe, when I say he's a insult comic and a roast comic, it's a particular kind of comedy. This is him at, I forget, this is a roast. I forget which roast. I watched part of this just before the show and I was like, oh, this is a good example of what he does. For people who don't know him, everybody is fair game. Everyone and everything. That's what roast comics do. Here we go.
Tom is afraid of the Giants, which is why Kevin Hart is hosting tonight. All night, he's been using the stool that Aaron Hernandez kicked out from under himself. Kevin is so small that when his ancestors picked cotton, they called it deadlifting. Tom Brady is a patriot, which is surprising considering he looks like a Confederate fag. Clearly, your ex-wife takes after you. I hear she's out there draining balls right now. People love you, Tom. You have the same fan base as Kyle Rittenhouse. Gronk,
I mean, it's just one after the, this is clearly edited. They put all the jokes back to back to back, but it's just he takes aim at every single person in the room. Nobody's off limits. Nothing's off limits. This is what an insult comic does.
I'm happy you could take a break from writing Santa letters to be here today. I knew you were here when we were all out of chocolate milk backstage. You look like the final boss in George Floyd, the video game. Jeff is so Jewish, he only watches football for the coin toss. Nikki has such a bad eating disorder, the industry keeps shoving her down our throat.
Okay, we'll stop there. But you get the idea. It goes on and on and on. That's what he does, guys. Brahma Bull, did y'all see the ABC test for election night showing Kamala winning Pennsylvania? Oops, I did not. I did not. If you can drop it to me, Brahma, if there's something I should pull up in the Twitter, in my Twitter DMs, that would be great. And Brahma, thanks for being here today, by the way. Brahma says that was the roast of Tom Brady, just so you know. Yeah, it wasn't. See, it's not really my cup of tea. I can appreciate it because I recognize how skilled these comics are, but roast comedy has never been my thing. I'm not really big on insult comedy. You know, it just, for me, it just goes a little hard. I'm more into puns and dad jokes and sometimes insult humor. It just depends. Okay, let's see. Let's see if you sent that to me. Okay. Let's see. Is this for real, Brahma? Okay. It's a post from One Bad Dude, and it says, and just like that, ABC reveals that they are part of the cheating by accidentally showing what they called their test election results on live TV. Kamala wins Pennsylvania by 5%. Does anyone believe these liars anymore? And you can see down there at the bottom of the screen on ABC, they have Harris at 52%. Trump at 47%, and they have checked the box for her, giving it to her. And I guess after the fact, they said this was just a test. Okay. 100% real. Yeah. I don't know. This is just what you guys know me. This is what I think is going to happen. I hope I'm wrong, but I just think that they picked her because they didn't think that they don't care about us. They don't care what we think, but they didn't think that their cult, the sheep, the idiots that I have the low tolerance for right now, the morons, all the people in the cult, they didn't think that those sheep would be able to buy Biden winning this time. I think that, and so that's why I think that's what I think. It's just an opinion. YouTube, don't censor this video, you fucks. But that's what I think they were. I don't know. I think that it's in the bag, and they think that their cult will buy that she won, because their cult is very excited about identity politics. That's what it's based on. And so all they do is look at her and say, she's a woman of color. Of course she won. She deserved to win. How could she not win? Okay, I'm really done with the cursing, John. I promise. John said, Keri, just pray God's will be done. It's the best hope we have. Yeah, that's what I've been doing. And the thing is, we're going to be fine no matter what. You know, humans are going to be fine no matter what. We'll survive another 4 years of communism. It'll be worse than we've seen so far under Biden, but we'll get through it. You know, whatever happens, I do pray that God's will be done. And I know that God has a plan. And I know who's the Alpha and the Omega and who sits on the throne. And I know all of that. And so at the end of the day, like that German I told you who asked me, I must be on pins and needles for the election. I am in terms of like, I want to see what's going to happen. But just like when Biden, quote unquote, won last time, when he won, we're not going to burn things down. We're not going to act like leftists. We're going to go on with our lives. We don't let it define us. We'll fight through everything they throw our way. Times will be harder than they have been. And I know they've been very hard under Biden. They're going to get worse, and we'll get through it. That's just how I feel. Mike James, demonetized with Keri Smith. Oh yeah. I think there's YouTube rules about cursing, and I usually don't have to worry about this because I don't curse, but today's episode is all the cursing for enough for the year. I think we're done after today. Sorry, Squad P. She's laughing. I know. You're maybe not used to hearing me say so many things. Should we be planning methods of nonviolent protest and resistance? I think so, Channel Julio. I think we should have, but I think we should have rallies, and we should have make our voices heard. And the thing is, in general, I think, and I hope that a lot of people feel like me. They're just so tired and they're so sick of it that they don't care anymore about what these idiots call us. And so just living fearlessly, that's a protest. You know, wearing this silly MAGA hat, it's so silly, but to wear it does take cojones. It does take putting it on, knowing what they're going to say, knowing what people might think of you, and they might think the wrong thing. Who cares? I'm at the point where I do not care. I will hide it out of respect for people I'm with, if at certain points, if they don't want to be seen with it, or I will hide it if my food is being prepared, because I think I was already poisoned. Not poisoned, that's a joke, just a slight exaggeration. But I had some bad food the first day I wore it, and I was like, So now I cover it up until after my food arrives, just to be careful. I don't need anything extra in my food, okay? But otherwise, I don't care what you say. I don't care what you think. I don't care if you have a stereotype about Americans and MAGA or Trump, and you see it and you think, oh, there's one of those dumb. I don't care. Think what you want, dummy. Hey, Tracy, Gen X marks the spot for $10. Thank you for the generous super chat. Says, I am optimistic we will win this time, and it'll be big enough that they can't rig it. I wasn't sure in 2020, but there's something different this time. Proud garbage here. I love you, lady. I'm optimistic too. I don't know. We'll see. I'm optimistic that I do think something's different this time. Like maybe it's just the attitude. Like I said, my attitude's changed. I mean, I have a MAGA hat now. I never had one in 2020. I'm at that point. I saw Josh Slocum. Josh Slocum's had a similar trajectory to me. And he was saying something on Twitter right before I started. He was saying something about, it was totally unexpected, this trajectory that he's come on to where he actually likes Trump now. And it really resonated with me because it's kind of similar with me. Let me see if I can find that one. I'll read it to you. Oh, yeah. He says, this is unexpected fun. I went from shriek hating Trump. He says, I was almost that meme, to begrudgingly thinking of voting for him, to enthusiastically planning to vote for him to now actually liking him. He's funny and warm. That's what he said. And that's where I'm at too, you know? And so for that reason, I'm optimistic also, Tracy. I'll Fight You Naked is here. Hello, what's up? Thank you for the $5 super chat. I'll Fight You Naked says, Germany imported a society destroying number of Muslims and destroyed their industrial base to support U.S. interests. They sacrificed their own people. It's funny that you say it that way, I'll Fight You Naked, because this morning I was thinking about it. And there's a kind of, not just in Germany, but all of the West and in the US too, this, especially in young people, this attitude of like, it's almost a suicidal kind of altruism. I think Gad Sad talks about it, suicidal kind of empathy or what have you. And it reminds me a little bit of Stockholm syndrome. It reminds me a little bit of when it's codependency, when someone's with an abusive spouse or an abusive partner, and that sort of no, I'll do whatever, I'll be a doormat, I will, you know, just let this abusive person or culture walk all over you. And I see that especially with some young people on the left, and I used to be like that too, where they're basically like, no, I don't believe in borders, and you know, all people have equal value, and we should have open border, and that's crazy. And first of all, you don't actually believe that because you live in a house with doors and locks, so you don't actually believe that. But B, that's suicide for your culture and for your country to live that way. It is. So in young people, I understand that more. But if you meet somebody in their 50s or 60s who says stuff like that, I'm like, what's wrong with you? Like, why are you like this? It is like Stockholm syndrome in a way. Wicked Psyched for $5. Thank you for the super chat. Wicked Psyched says Puerto Rico has had a trash crisis for years. Overcapacity, overflowing, unlined landfills, and no trash service for citizens. Jokes do hold some truth. Yeah, they do. It's funny because it's true. It's based in truth. It's so funny how the leftists don't get outraged about the situation in Puerto Rico. They don't get outraged. They just get outraged when you have humor about such things or dark humor about such things. John says, Keri, do you witness the daily no words list? No, I don't see daily lists from YouTube, but I do have daily. Every time you put up a video, you have to confess to any of the bad things that you may have talked about. And they have like 8 different categories now or something. And each one of those, you have to confess and tell them, did I talk about it a little bit, a moderate amount, or a lot, you know? And then if they determine over time, if the algorithm says, oh, you're not being truthful, you talk about you talk about no subjects a lot, like COVID is one of them, or riots, or the election, or, you know, anything that's considered like controversial as a whole. Did I talk about anything controversial? And you have to go in there and say, yes, I did a little bit. Yes, I did a moderate amount, or yes, I did a lot. And then they have that for everything. That's just one section. It's all about self-reporting. It's about training us to self-report, like Stasi, right? I've been like, excuse me, sir, I did want to talk a little bit about racism. It's a controversial subject. They have one called hate speech. Did you do any hate speech? Do you know what they mean by that? If I say men are not women, I better check the box. Hate speech. There you go. I did a little bit of hate speech. Yeah, it's self-reporting. And then they'll, based on what you reported and what they determine, if you were telling the truth or not, then they decide if your video is monetized or not, or only partially monetized, or completely demonetized. How do you even quantify the amount, says Eclectic Company? You don't. I mean, I just kind of go, did I say something about how men aren't women? Okay. I talked about it a little bit, you know. Bush, McFadden, Keri, that is Public Confessions, all in 1984. It is. Oh, you're so right. It is like 1984. I should show you guys the back end on YouTube sometime of every video like that, where you have to go in and let's see if I have one that's not monetized where I can show you. But yeah, you have to, and they're always changing the sections. So I'm sure some channels get an updated list, maybe from people who work for them, or maybe from someone who's like, oh, these are the things you can't say now today. Also, I have an active strike against me. You can see what strikes you have and all of that, you know. It's crazy. Brahmabul, I think Brahmabul is now monetized, which means Brahmabul, if you're still around in the chat today, you're going to get to experience demonetization very soon on a video. I'm sure you will. Here, I'm trying to open this up so I can show you guys, but it's making me verify this on YouTube. Okay. Real Raven 2000. Hey, Real Raven. Real Raven says, I think any kind of legislation that requires the judge to read your mind is open to abuse. Yes, it is, isn't it? It's thought crimes. Okay, here we go. Let me show you this. Now, those of you who already have channels, you know what the back end looks like. So this is boring to you, I'm sure. Let's see if I've got one. Here we go. Here's one. Let me show you this. So if I want to monetize this one, now this is the video that they censored and took down completely. So now if I want to monetize it, let me share this page with you. So this is a video, it was called The Left's Open War on Free Speech. And they censored it completely and they took the video down and they made me edit out part of it if I wanted to have it back up on the channel. So when I re-uploaded it, I didn't even try to monetize it because I was like, probably not. But here we go. So in this video, it says, does your video's content, title, description, or keywords contain any of the following? Now you have to do this for every video, remember. Inappropriate language. Does it include any inappropriate language, profanity in the title, thumbnail, or usage in the content? And then you have to say a little bit stronger, a little bit stronger profanity, or very strong profanity. You have to pick one, like a little bit, middle, a lot. So let's say a little bit. Okay. Then you go to the next one. Adult content, sexual behavior, language. That one for me is always none, pretty much. I don't have any of that stuff. Violence. Did I talk about violence or show violence a little bit, a medium amount, or a lot? A little bit. I mean, I think I mentioned the assassination attempts. I mentioned political violence. I didn't show videos of it. Shocking content. Situations that may upset, disgust, or shock viewers. No. And notice you have to select. Do I have to select a little bit? I think I have to select one. Harmful acts and unreliable claims. Situations that may endanger participants. No, none. I'm gonna go back and say none on this. I don't think I can. Okay. Recreational drugs content. No. Enabling dishonest behavior. Content glorifying or promoting dishonest behavior. No. I'm going to leave that blank. Hateful and these are the two that I usually, the last three I have to pay attention to. Hateful and derogatory content. Hate, disparagement, or harassment towards a group or individual. This is the woke question. This is the question woke. This is if you said anything about any of the protected, so-called oppressed, so-called marginalized groups. If I said men are not women, which I've now said 3 times, that counts. Because that they consider that transphobia. If I talk about a real stat about how women are more emotional than men, that counts. That's hateful and derogatory content towards women. If you say anything about groups, even jokingly, you've got to self-report. So I will usually, if the whole episode is about trans, I'll pick like maybe medium, but I'll always click the top one because I just figure I probably said something about some group that they consider protected. Firearms, no. Sensitive events. This is war, death, tragedy. That's if you talk about anything related to the assassination attempts or the war in Israel or Ukraine or anything like that. Now, they used to have one about COVID on here, but now I think COVID is lumped in with this bottom one. Controversial issues. Sensitive and controversial topics that could be traumatic for viewers. And so you have to self-report about anything controversial. So since I talk about COVID, I usually select yes. There we go. That's it. You got to see the self-reporting system. Currently, they're always updating it. Real Raven, can you save your answers as a template? I wouldn't want to go through this every time. I don't think you can. If you can, let me know. I have to go through it every time. Who is this? A letter from your mom? Are you talking about the self-reporting system? Yeah, I guess it seems like it could be a letter from your mom. Hey, Michelle, Force of Light is here. Rodney says, OMG, thank you, Keri. This is mind-boggling. Oh, yeah, I've talked about it before, but I've never shown the back end. So maybe that's interesting to people. It's funny, right? The self-report is to train you to self-report. And then they'll come in and they will make judgments based on what you reported, whether you were accurate or not, on how much you talked about each of these things. And then they'll say, actually, this video is not suitable for ads because you really talked about, this was a lot instead of medium or something. It's just so dumb. Or they'll, like they did with my other video, take it down completely. That video, the re-upload, is a video that they took down completely because they said that I said something untrue about COVID. And actually it was true. They said it was a controversial subject, medical misinformation. I'll fight you naked for $2. They demoralize us with slavery, Germans with World War II. Yeah. Yeah, they do. They do. What a great point. What a great point. I don't let them do that anymore. Lately on Twitter, there's been, in America anyway, a lot of ninnies talking about reparations again. So dumb. It's so unrealistic. And whether there should be reparations for slavery, and in some of those conversations, they try to do that whole thing where they try to say you have some kind of guilt, you share some kind of guilt, you should be punished in some way. Why? Because of my skin color? I have nothing to do with what people who have the same skin color as me did hundreds of years ago. And furthermore, people who have the same skin color as all of us have done in different parts of history in different places. So no, I'm not responsible for the sins of someone else. I'm responsible for my own sins. And don't let them do that to you. And I think they do something similar here in Germany. They demoralize people they have this fear here of being called Nazis. What's funny is they don't realize when they are behaving like Nazis, just like the woke left, they behave like Nazis. They are okay with the government telling Big Social what to censor. Governments directing corporations to work for the government. That's fascism. Okay, that's fascism. That's what it is. Ding, ding, ding. They want the government to censor Elon Musk and censor Twitter. Congratulations. If you're a German who wants that to happen, you're like the Nazis. That's what you are. You're like the fascists. I'm going to wrap this up. It's been really nice talking to you guys, hanging out with you guys again. when I get back, we're going to get back on the regular schedule. I appreciate you being patient with me while we're on the road. If you are in Germany or Switzerland, there's still a few shows left. If you go to anthonygarciamusic.com, you can see where my husband's band is going to be playing. And I love meeting people out on the road. I've met people last year. I know I'm about to see some other folks soon. So anyway, come and say hello. And if you are a believer, no matter what country you're in, if you're a believer, just say a prayer for America, say a prayer for our leaders and for our elections. And I would appreciate a prayer for me that I get my patience back. You know that movie Stella got her groove back? Keri needs her patience back. Keri got her patience back. Okay. Thank you guys. Oh, thanks, Therese. Yes, I will tell him happy birthday. You guys are the best. Okay. I'll talk to you later. I'll let you know when. I'll put something on the community tab when I know I can do another one. Take care, guys. Bye.